Hello, David Judge from Affordable Staff, and I have...
Damien Barnett, Affordable Staff. How you going, David?
I'm good. How are you going, all right?
Yeah, really good, really good.
So we're creating this content. Here we are in November 2020 in what people would consider to be would it be considered a post? It's not. It's certainly not pre-COVID.
I don't know. It's been a challenging year.
Yes.
It has been a pretty challenging year. I remember sitting back in February talking about
how great everything was going to be. How it was going to be.
2020 was going to be, and then it just went to custard for a lot of businesses out in Australia and New Zealand. So,
and this is why we're here today, because we've noticed as we're continuing to work with clients, the ones that all of our clients that have just continued to drive forward, we've identified 5 key areas of their business, or 5 key things within their business that they've been focusing on that have really allowed them to continue to grow and flourish as a business.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk you through each one of these now. We thought we'd make this conversational because, I mean, we've been living through this with clients, so it's easy for us to talk around.
Yeah.
So what's the first one?
First one's setting up cloud solutions. So, and what I mean by that, it's not just about having a cloud property management software, because there are still businesses out in Australia that don't have a cloud software
and that was quite painful for them.
Initially it was.
Yeah.
But you know, we're 6 months in and I suppose they've made it work, but a lot of those businesses that I'm talking to that aren't on the cloud just yet have been seriously weighing up their options and making sure that they've got the right solution for their business. And I think that's pretty key, because in March of this year, I suppose there was a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I need to move to the cloud straight away. And a lot of businesses missed out on that opportunity to discover what was best for their business, what was going to work well for their business, to do the whole training and implementation plan that, you know, would normally be rolled out with these big decisions that, you know, you just don't up and change property management software overnight. So a lot of businesses are still looking at what their solution is. A lot of businesses are still have made their mind up about what that is. And are just waiting for the right time to implement and to going through the training. But setting up cloud software solutions is the number one thing to help businesses grow. So that's not just property management software, that's looking at your back of house. Can you be paperless? Can you, what solutions? Are you using DocuSign? Are you using some other document management software out there? You know, are your emails off the server even? You know, a lot of that stuff, and they don't happen overnight, as we know. It's not, you know, flick the switch and hey, we're in the cloud.
But it's an important integration for someone to consider.
It is definitely probably the number one key thing that businesses moving forward and businesses that are growing this year have nailed it. They've got, you know, they're using Slack, they're using Trello, they're using Microsoft Teams or Google Hangouts. They've actually built that into their business so that their business has been able to function as normal. So,
excellent. Well, that leads us into number two, which is remote team integration. And that's an important area that a lot of people have discovered this year. When historically a lot of people were working together in an office space, and then you're put into a situation where you all have to work from different locations.
Number one's probably around conversations. How do you have those conversations now? But I suppose with a remote and cloud software, working with remote teams, number one's got to be security.
Yes.
And I know, you know, conversations I'm having, especially with the IT guys out there, is making sure that passwords are secure, that you're using some type of realistically password management software. And if you don't know what that is, there's, you know, LastPass is a good one. There's a whole heap of different ones out there. I'm more than happy to have a chat to people about what we've seen clients using. You know, I use LastPass myself when we use LastPass in our business, so that you don't have to remember password 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's right.
But
the hackers don't have to remember it.
Yeah, well, it's easy to find. The second part is two-factor authentication. So having a really strong password is awesome, but two-factor authentication allows you to lock down, I suppose, lock down that password even further, so that if it's accessed from a new device, that it's actually the person that's supposed to be accessing it. And you know, there's Google Authenticator, and there's a whole heap of authentication apps out there that'll allow you to secure your data that you've got out there working remotely, whether it's working from home or working offshore
Yes.
with us. So that's another thing. And probably the third one that's been the most common, and saw this really commonly in March, and even in the outsourcing world, it's been one of the key growth areas for us. Unified communications. So what do I mean by that? Is actually having the ability for someone to pick up the phone, dial your office, and for you to be able to transfer them through to your property management team, just like you would be in the office. So whether that's using a VoIP system, and there's so many different systems out there, but as we know, 2020 has been about VAs actually being the receptionist, being that person that's answering the phone and then just diverting the phone through to the relevant property manager or maintenance manager or whoever it is in the office, whether they're working from home or not.
And it was the promise in a lot of ways beforehand, but now it's become almost a necessity, where you would ring up your office, your direct office line, and then that person would say, hey, look, I want to talk to Tim. Tim's working remotely. Being able to put them on hold, contact Tim, say, hey, Tim, I've got a call for you, the same way it would work within an office, but remotely, and then being able to physically transfer that call through to Tim to take that call.
And there's nothing more than annoying saying, oh, sorry, he's working from home today. Because if we're looking at 2021, so many of these things are not going to change. The way we do business now in Australia has changed forever in real estate, and not just real estate, other businesses. So I believe working from home and working remotely is going to be intertwined into the way we move forward with businesses across Australia.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the third point. So we've covered off setting up cloud, remote team integration. The third point is productivity.
Yeah, productivity. So having, go back to March, everyone goes to work from home and it's like, well, how do I know that the people are doing the job?
Yes.
How do I know what's going on? How do I, even going back, how do I communicate with them? We used to have a property management meeting at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Now, what do I do? Zoom's taken over a lot of that. So really, even in our role, it used to be pretty common for us to go face to face with people and meet in the office. Now, 99% of my meetings are on Zoom.
Yes.
And people are really comfortable with that. But actually using that to touch base, to keep that water cooler talk going is a really important thing in maintaining productivity, because if you can't measure it, you can't understand what people are doing, and you don't want people to become disconnected from your business. So it's a really important part about monitoring activity. There's software out there, Hubstaff.
There's software that we use called Hubstaff, which enables you to actually physically monitor people's productivity. A great piece of software if you were to Google Hubstaff. And they also have a number of add-ons available too. You can install the app on your phone, and if the person is out working remotely, they can run it on their phone, and you can actually see where they are from a geographical location as well.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing was, and I've found it a lot this year with businesses that are growing, is actually reviewing the software that you are using.
Yeah, because that's a bit of a flip side, isn't it? Because we're talking about productivity from the respect that, what tools you use to make sure people are being productive still, but the reviewing the software, that's a little bit more.
Some of the software we found the businesses have got they're not maximising the benefit of their current property management software. They're not utilising, they're paying for software and they're not really utilising the full part. There's, some of the offices we've gone into that are actually using software that's a duplication of their current property management software, and they're paying ridiculous amounts of money for this software so that they can duplicate what they've already currently got in another piece of software, which,
but without really, truly, in my opinion, understanding the goal of what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and to provide, everyone I talk to says it's to provide clarity, but the problem is there's so many different touch points for property managers to fill it in here and fill it in there and fill it in there, that it all fell apart and none of it was actually integrated. So it just became a jumbled mess, and no one knew no one really understood what was going on. So one of the things I would recommend is reviewing the software. Are you getting the most out of the software that you're using? Does everyone know how to use the software that you're using? So that there's big costs associated with the software that we use, and if you're using a cloud-based property management software, are you maximizing the benefit of that software? I know there's partners and other people out there that can help you if you're unsure about how to get that software out there. But I definitely recommend, around productivity is not just what your people are doing, but what's your software doing for you? Is it actually delivering on what you need it to deliver to be able to get the end result that you're trying to achieve?
Okay, moving on to number 4, customer experience.
Customer experience. Yeah, so I suppose with anything is, just because we're all working from home, and I know a lot right across Australia, and especially our Victorian clients, they've been locked down. But the rest of Australia's opened up. So, things like virtual tours were, I won't say a whiz-bang idea, but in March, everyone wanted to, okay, we've got to go and do virtual tours. But I've noticed that that's now the norm.
Yes.
And that's a customer expectation. Customer expectation is still to be able to pick up the phone, ring your office and get through to the property manager without having to go, hang on, they're working from home today. The reality is they don't care.
Yes.
They want to be able to talk to the people they want to talk to when they want to talk to them, and have that, whether they're working from remotely or whether they're in the office, they want to be able to do that. So virtual tours, remote inspections, even routine inspections. There's so many businesses that had to postpone routine inspections. So now they've got a backlog. But the clients still expect that their routine inspection is done every 3 months. Rightly or wrongly, that's what they're paying. That's the service they're paying for. So they want you to be able to deliver on, I suppose, your promise to them. And as I said, COVID's not going to change, or the way we do business isn't going to change. So the customer expectation, I think, has actually gone up through this period because
of the ability for people to have access to online tools and online and different methods.
Different methods, and a lot of businesses had portals on their property management software that a lot of owners weren't using. But through COVID, the uptake had increased.
Yes.
So now they're actually going, oh, hang on, there's cool stuff in here. I can monitor what's going on with my property. So it puts more of a spotlight on the businesses out there to go, am I delivering on what I'm promising? So customer experience has got to be the core part of any service offering that you've got out there, and leads into all of those, having those cloud software solutions, making sure that you're integrated properly, as well as making sure that you're actually productive.
Which finally leads me into number 5, and I put down number 5, and I call it Just Keep Swimming.
Yeah. So what do you mean by just keep swimming?
Well, my kids like the movie Finding Nemo, and there's a saying in there, just keep swimming.
Yep.
And I think the thing is that this year has proven for business owners that you have those challenging times, you have those really down lows, and you have those real highs, and to be able to continue to do business with consistency, knowing that this is normal now. It's potentially normal for a business to go back to an office space or go to a hybrid office and home, and then suddenly have to be working from home again, and to be able to think, okay, you know what, it's okay if that's happening, it's okay. And just to keep moving forward. I'm aware that we had a few clients that panicked, that went into
Paralyzed,
panic mode.
paralyzed.
Yeah, and exactly, and they ended up becoming exactly that. They ended up becoming paralyzed instead of going and making decisions, instead of continuing to move forward. So I think it's important to acknowledge that it's okay to experience the stress and the anxiety and the panic, but just to keep going and keep moving forward. As long as you keep doing that, as many businesses have proven, even though we're right now, again, as of November 2020, there's still uncertainty as to where we're at and what's going to happen in the future around the virus, et cetera, but continuing to move forward anyway in that uncertainty, and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it. That is the top 5 key areas that we believe that through talking with clients and working with people through all the challenges that have been happening, that you should be focusing on with real estate. Appreciate your time, Damien.
Yeah, thanks, David.
This is David and Damien from Affordable Staff, where there's a better way to outsource.